they adopted her out to my cousin. And my cousin has her, and she's 7 years old now, but I still have not seen her since she was 5.5 months old. So that's that. Okay, so the parents had jumped through all the hoops. They still did not get their child back. As long as the child is not returned, there is money for the agency, meaning adoption incentives. Ding, 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 ding. Cha-ching, cha-ching. So, for foster parents and for adopted parents and for the state, that tax dollars are being used to keep this gigantic system afloat. And it's a billion-dollar industry. It's a business that's disguised under this Child Protective Services, aka CPS. Yet the victims, the parents, the grandparents, the guardians, and especially the children are charged for the system's services. Blows my mind. That grandparents have called from all over the state of Georgia and from other states trying to get custody of their grandchildren. CPS claims relatives are contacted, but there are many, many cases that prove differently. Grandparents who lose their grandchildren to strangers have lost their own flesh and blood, not to mention their roots, Their family tree is just erased. The children lose their The children lose their family heritage, and grandparents and parents too lose all connections to their heirs. Yep, just like that, they just erase the family tree like it never existed and replace with a whole different family. At the National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect in 1998, well, that's the year my mom actually went to prison. I'm sorry, you guys, I keep interrupting. It's insane, all this stuff. My mom went to prison in 1998. I was actually 9 years old, and she was sentenced to life in prison. She's still there, actually. She should be getting out in a couple years, hopefully. So, I'm gonna try not to interrupt anymore. So, the National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect in 1998 reported that 6 times as many children died in foster care than in the general public, and that once removed to official safety, these children are far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation, than in the general population. Think what that number is today, 10 years later. That according to the California Little Hoover Commission report in 2003, sorry guys, my neighbor's walking upstairs. That according to the California Little Hoover Commission report in 2003, 30% to 70% of the children in California group homes do not belong there and should not have been removed from their homes in the first place. Recommendations. Call for an independent audit of all state child protective services, CPS, DCFS, and for a federal congressional hearing on child protective services nationwide. Activate immediate change. Every day that passes means more and more families and children and babies, and let me add this part, and newborns, okay? Yes, newborns. Yes. Newborns are subject to being held hostage and their lives destroyed. Abolish the federal and state financial incentives that have turned CPS, or Child Protective Services, into a business that separates family for money incentives. Grant to parents the rights verbally and in writing. Mandate a search for family members to be given the opportunity to adopt their own relatives. rather than if children need to be removed permanently. Mandate a jury by trial where every piece of evidence. Sorry, exactly. That was my speaker turning off. But on that note, yes, I totally. That's exact. I'm gonna put it back to where I was at because it moved it. That's exactly what we need. That is. Oh my gosh, I can't. It's wow. See, I can't even talk. It's just that is exactly what we need. We need a trial by jury because majority of the times, as you would know, if you've been in, the juvenile dependency courts, there is no oversight, and basically everything is pretty much like in secret, and it's not public, and it's not open to the public. So whatever they say, whatever they do is, it's kind of like nobody knows except for you, and a lot of the times they get away with just a lot of fraudulent things and just perjury and it's just a bunch of craziness, and no one's there to just set things